Welcome to ISELP In-Motion, our podcast. We are podcasting here from AEP, and with us today is Dr. Erik Bergman. Erik and I are old friends and have been around the block a few times, and he is Vice President of ISELP. And Erik, welcome.
Thank you, Ken. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I am too.
Good.
It's rare I get the chance to interview someone of your esteemed nature here.
Just don't ask too many questions, and we'll be fine.
So, Erik, obviously I know you from years now, but many of our listeners won't have known you as well. What's been your journey that got you to veterinary medicine?
That's a long journey to start with, but maybe just introducing myself a little bit. My name is Erik Bergman. I'm from the Netherlands. I work at SMDC, the Sport Horse Medical Diagnostic Center. And actually, I graduated in 1996 in Belgium, Kent University. And I actually started as a repro specialist in 2003. So I was a boarded repro specialist, or actually still am, since 2003. But after a couple of years, I changed my mindsetting completely into locomotor pathology. So over the years I became an associate member of the European College of Veterinary Diagnostic Imaging, and later on I became a certified ISELP member, one of the first ones, together with you in 2008, if I'm right.
Right.
I became sports medicine and rehab boarded in 2022, and actually so you see it's a whole it's not. I started as a repro specialist, and now I'm doing 100% orthopedics.
But you know, you and I have that in common. I started as a repro specialist.
No way.
And my father, who's a very prominent veterinarian, and he had this dream of me going and doing a PhD in reproductive physiology in the horse. And he was, of course, a DVM, MS, PhD, all that. So he wanted me to do that. And I just wanted to go into practice. And so I started practicing. But then what's interesting is that I got back into doing repro, and I bought an ultrasound machine that could do musculoskeletal, which were rare. This is back in the early 80s.
This is where it comes together again, because doing repro, at the end I was more interested in the lumbosacral and sacroiliac region. So I started with my uterus, and I ended up with its nice sacroiliac joint on the left.
Exactly.
That's how enthusiastic I was.
And I had that machine, and that machine enabled me to start doing musculoskeletal ultrasound as well. And then in the end, my wife borrowed it, and she did the original work on dolphins. So that machine and that repro start, that's funny. I didn't know that about you.
This is good about a podcast. And I have now a daughter studying veterinary medicine. I don't know how she starts. But
and is she still a student, or is she graduating?
She's still a student, and she's actually interested in surgery in the beginning, but now it's flipping towards sports medicine. So we'll see.
And did you ever think about surgery? Because a lot of us have.
No, to be honest, no. I was always in repro from the beginning and sports medicine later on, because I grew up with horses. That's the reason why. Yeah.
And so what kind of horses did you grow up with?
We had a riding school at home, actually.
Really?
So warm blood horses. It's dressage and jumping. And we are still in dressage and jumping in the Netherlands, you know that, in our sport horse hospital.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, see, these things we're learning about Erik.
Yeah, it's good. We have 40 minutes to go, so come on.
So now, going back to your start in ISELP.
Yeah.
So now you were, I think, the original board was the first group to become ISELP certified. And for those of you who are curious about this, no one has ever been grandfathered into the original ISELP. And the exception to that was Jean-Marie Denoix, who of course is you and I's mentor, and it has been for many years.
And I think, my ISELP journey started 2 decades ago. 2 decades ago when ISELP started, and indeed, I think it was in 2008, 2006, 20 years ago, you know that. ISELP started in 2008 together with 3 other ISELP members, we started as a member, of course. Together with the board, we took the exam. You took the exam on Saturday afternoon at Haggards, and we took the exam on Sunday morning, and you were in the examination committee, I remember.
Right. No.
So after that, becoming a member, I became a board member, I think, in 2009. And that's where I got ISELP to Europe, because in Europe, I started the first module in Europe, in Lingenhoeve,
Right.
in those days. And and then I became a presenter from 2020 on, one of the module presenters.
Let me ask you this. When was the first time you heard Jean-Marie Denoix lecture?
That's interesting, because actually from 1998 or 9, I invited him once a year for 3 days to give a course at our hospital with, I think, 10 or 15 colleagues. And actually that was a little bit the pre-ISELP time.
Right.
So it was also good for me and my colleague Henk van der Veen when we joined ISELP in 2006. The way Jean-Marie teaches us, that was also the way we were working already. For example, medial to the left and documenting all these cases, because we started documenting the cases in 2003. So it shows we were a little bit in the ISELP way
Mode.
of doing it, system, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard him first at AEP here in, I think it was 1998, 99.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and heard him, and I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. And then I organized for him to come, and this is back when I was just in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I had moved from Arizona to Virginia, and then we had him out and gave a couple of courses, kind of like you did.
Yeah. The pre-ISELP courses.
Exactly. And then the beauty of that at the time was we kind of had Jean-Marie to ourselves. He was an undiscovered property.
True.
And that's when we all started doing things similar the Jean-Marie way.
And going back in those memories, for the listeners, Jean-Marie came with 2 sport bags full of tapes. So every case he showed was finding a tape, putting in the machine, and then we saw the video. Amazing.
little bit more sophisticated nowadays.
Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah.
So now then, I will tell you a Erik Bergman story here.
Oh my God.
And so since he mentioned that I was on the examining committee, and Erik was this bright young Dutchman who
was
I didn't know him, and so I met you there at that time when you were doing the exam. And the modules at that time, you got to remember the ISELP modules started in the United States, and
true.
You're exactly right. They then moved to Europe. You started it there, but you predated all that, and you were coming over and taking.
We took all those modules in the States.
Modules in the U.S.
Correct.
And so then, and you of course did, as now still the certified member candidates do.
Yep.
You have to defend not only your cases, but you have to defend the papers that you read.
Papers and the wet lab, of course.
And so Erik, the amazing part about Erik is I was sitting there and I thought he's given a very good defense of his cases.
Before you go on, I like the golden standard. Just to be sure. Go on. I know what's coming.
Yeah. And so he did a great job in this first case, and then he goes, and the proof is, here's the postmortem results, and they were exactly what he said.
No discussion.
And he was dead on. And so then the second case comes, and exactly the same, the postmortem discussion. And then back then we were doing 3 cases, and the third case came, postmortem. And I'm going, Erik, does anything walk out of your clinic alive?
Yes. I remember one question from Professor Denoix in my exam. It was like, can you show me back? I had a shoulder of a Shetland pony. And he said, show the x-ray again. And he said, it's upside down, isn't it? And I thought, oh no, it's upside down. What did I do? And I just was thinking, what should I say? I said, listen, we always project it the way we make them. And we normally just put these horses down, take the legs up and make the x-ray. That's why it's upside down. It seems to be upside down, but it's the correct way. And then Jean-Marie agreed. That was the exam, but it's 20 years ago.
20 years ago, and remember, we are celebrating our 20th
Next
year of
100%.
ISELP, and so I think that's one of the things. So, did you have any other mentors who kind of shaped your career?
Yes, for sure. When I started in the repro, I had a Professor De Kruijf that was in Belgium, and he was a Dutch man in Belgium actually. And what I learned from him was the equine community. Be straightforward and no nonsense, just common sense. And what he learned me, and that's also interesting, he always said, Erik, just do a good clinical exam and then you're better than 90% of the rest of the vets in the world. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And other mentors, of course, Jean-Marie. I mean, I learned a lot from Jean-Marie, and he's indirect also a mentor about making me getting me interested in the way in a structured method. And be critical. That's what I learned from Jean-Marie. Be critical what we do. I mean, do everything with a systemic approach, and be critical on what you do and what you inject and why you inject, and think about anatomy and functional anatomy. So I think those two are the main mentors in my career. Good clinical exam, be critical, and think about anatomy.
Well, and you've taken it obviously beyond that, and
I try.
You've gone from Lingehoven, which
Yeah.
was the first clinic you were involved
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
and then now you've gone on and set up SMDC.
Yeah, and SMDC is actually a nice example, and I think maybe I can call it even a kind of an ISELP example, because SMDC is the Sport Horse Medical Diagnostic Center. We are doing sports medicine, focused on orthopedics when we started. Now we also have an internal medicine specialist. And actually I started it with Frans van Toor and Brenda Hogelander. And now we are having 3 ISELP certified members. Frans is just retired. We have 2 people who take the exam next year, so I'm quite sure we will have 5 in the upcoming years. But I think we are a team of 9 veterinarians and really working in a multidisciplinary approach. So we are working with 5 physiotherapists, 3 farriers, 3 dentists, and even an internal medicine person for our poor performance, or I call it reduced performance horses. But I think the concept is ISELP, based on accurate diagnosis, document well, try to do a good job together, and be critical.
Now, what's a typical day for you at SMDC?
A typical day. A nice day, or what kind of day do you mean? A typical day is actually, we start early. I'm an early morning person.
Right. What time?
I open the doors at 6 a.m. At 6 a.m. I'm always there. And normally at 7 the first clients will come. And then it's a kind of a one-stop shop. So our clients are clients that come to us. We don't have any ambulatory. So the client is the person who comes with his or her horse through the gate of SMDC. We have many clients that really come for the one-stop shop. So we have the farrier on site, we have the physiotherapist on site, everybody is on site, and we all working on this horse. At SMDC, we always talk about the SMDC experience, because we want to sell value, and value is more than an injection. And value is for us taking time for these clients and really listen to the clients, ask what their expectations are, and then go with the flow and do a good job. Do a good job in our clinical exam, do a good job in our imaging. And imaging, we will do that as soon as possible. Of course, advanced imaging, we will do that probably the next day or maybe in the afternoon. But normally, in 90% of our cases, it's a good history, a good clinical exam. Not many blocks, time consuming, and we hope we can see it based on the biomechanics. But if needed, we will block them. Then we do ultrasound and X-ray, and then we have 90% of our diagnosis. So all our advanced imaging tools, scintigraphy, MRI, CT, it's actually for the last 10% of our own cases. But of course, in our center, we got a lot of referred cases from other sports medicine doctors, and they often refer for MRI or CT or scintigraphy. And then the day will end normally at 5 or 6 o'clock. The last appointment is at 4:30, and it shows already. The last appointment is at 4:30. We do not have any emergencies, so nothing, no evening calls, no weekend calls, and that's a way of living. That's a way of living, and probably you will ask me later on about my work-life balance. But we put a lot of energy in education together at our center, and we do a lot of educational evenings and stuff in the evening. So the evenings are always busy, but it's not the stress I had the first 20 years of my career cutting colics at night. Not anymore for the last 10 years. It's an exciting center, and you're all welcome.
Well, it's amazing, and I've had the privilege of being there several times, and Erik has turned it into quite the facility for education. He's got a large room where you can do great conferences and have done many great conferences there.
A lot. Yep.
And you're going to do not only your module in the fall again, and I think that's on
that's the
hip
second. That's pelvis.
Pelvis and
we have an additional this year about the 3D imaging.
Exactly, and that's very exciting. This is the first time 3D imaging's been in Europe.
And that's very important now because in this podcast, because it's not March yet, it's in April. Yeah, it's in April. In April, it's the 3D imaging, so we will invite people, and especially practitioners. It's not made for radiologists. It's made for the practitioners, where we will go over all these advanced imaging techniques with Kurt, you, Elizabeth, Brenda, and me. And I think it's interesting when to use what and find out is it useful in which situation. I think it's interesting. We did it a couple of times now in the States.
Right.
People like it.
And I think it's amazing because, now there are so many choices. You go back 10 years ago when there were choices, but not so many. Now there's standing CT in a whole variety of places.
And that's even in the center we have now. It's also, for us, it's difficult. Do we do an MRI of the distal limb or do we do a CT?
Yeah.
CT is fast. I know the answer in 3 minutes. In MRI, we have to wait 1.5 hours. But MRI, we can detect fluid. I mean, it all has its advantages and disadvantages.
Exactly, and the pressure of which do I pick
spending
first?
Spending money.
Because you don't want to spend their money unwisely.
No, true.
And so it's a challenge. Yeah. But
come to the 3D imaging module. That's the goal.
And so why don't you just, while we're on advanced imaging, tell us a little bit about the advanced imaging you have there at the center.
Okay, we have actually, when we started in 2015, I started with scintigraphy and MRI, because the goal was we do everything standing. I came out of a big referral hospital for 18 years, and we did a lot of general anesthesias. I said, I don't want any general anesthesia. We don't have any hospitalization because it's a one-stop shop. So it's MRI and scintigraphy. These techniques, we use them quite a lot. I mean, scintigraphy, most of them are revert cases. And MRI, it's great. I mean, MRI, it's great. It's a fantastic soft tissue and even bone lesion if we talk about fluid. But it's a nice imaging techniques, because we're doing standing, to follow up cases. And from following up, we can learn such a lot. So I really liked it. Now, since 2022, we also have the CT. We have the big system with the large bore, where we can do the standing limbs up to the carpus and the hock. And under general anesthesia now, we have to do the neck and backs and even pelvis, if it's necessary, or shoulder and elbows, under general anesthesia. So that's why we actually hired a specialist anesthesia, because I don't want to have any trouble with anesthesia. And of course, these are sport horses, and it's not we just not knock them down and hope it's going well. It should be perfect. And that's the goal of the center, is quality. I mean, our center is about excellence in quality in communication, teamwork, and an inspirational working environment. We're enjoying it every day.
Well, it's an amazing facility, and I urge you all to go see it if you get an opportunity, or
always welcome.
Or come to
the modules.
Come to the modules.
That's number one.
Erik puts on a heck of a party.
So, I try. But in the old days, it was different.
Now, the other thing that you've had the opportunity to do is be an imaging specialist and a sports medicine specialist at some Olympics.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell me a little bit about that and what you took away from those experiences? Where have you been first?
At the Olympics, I joined Rio in 2016, Tokyo in 2021, and Paris in 2024. So 3 Olympics. Actually, my role over there was the same like Kurt in Tokyo and Paris. No, in Tokyo. being head of the imaging department of the hospital of the FEI. So the local organizing committee, they have their own hospital. It's not me being part of a certain country, of a sport, of a team vet, but we are actually the neutral people within the FEI, within the local organizing committee. We're having a hospital actually where we take care of those horses. There's surgery, there's internal medicine and imaging. And yeah, what have I learned over there? A lot, because suddenly I saw acute soft tissue lesions. In our referral center, it's always chronic.
You never see that.
No, so it's very interesting to see it and to follow it up. What did I learn over there? I think first of all, it increases your network. And when we talk later on about ISELP, it's all about network. I mean, we are one community together. We need to know each other. It's a network, and I think the network of the sport horse vets, that's at the Olympics. That's where we meet each other. We know each other, and we're taking care of these horses together, and we do our best to get the best out of them. That's the goal. Imaging-wise, luckily we did not need any MRI or CT. It's all based on radiography and ultrasound. What did I learn? And I still learn it always from our caseload in sport horse medicine. Our top-level equine athletes, our elite athletes, have a lot of findings, a lot. But all these findings are not all clinical significant. So you learn, if you have a 12-year-old 160 show jumper, it will have changes in his suspensory, it will have changes in his fetlocks. That's the way it is. So you learn to have to get a better idea about, this is a sport horse, and they have findings. And that's the biggest issue for our young veterinarians. We're making a lot of findings, but are they clinical relevant? And that's called experience and knowledge.
And I know it always varies a little bit when you're there at an Olympics or a World Equestrian Games, in that, where normally at home you're doing the exam. And most of the time that's not the case when you're there at Olympics. The team vets are the ones doing the exam, and you're sitting there doing the imaging, and sometimes that's a little awkward.
Yeah, it is. And that's, I think, why it's so important to have these positions filled up with people who know these people. It's a network of people together, and I totally agree. And the other thing I don't like at the Olympics, that they don't sedate those horses, because I'm used to sedated horses, to work on sedated horses. It's a big deal, yeah. But I mean, you learn a lot. That's nice.
And I think one of the interesting parts to me always has been at those things is that exactly what you're saying is that the more you do it, the more trust the team veterinarians have in you. Yeah. And it's all about trust there, and they have to feel comfortable coming to you and saying, hey, I have a concern, I'm not sure, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, could you tell me what you think?
Totally agree. It's trust, and then you get collaboration and network. It is. But you need to work on that.
Yeah.
And I think in that position, when I do my job at the Olympics, it's not about being Erik doing the job. No, we help the team vets to get the best out of these horses and get the diagnosis, because it is still an accurate diagnosis is important. Also at the Olympics, of course.
Right, yeah. And it's not like, there's always the concern about, you're going to find something. Well, yes, but we as long as we've been doing this job and seeing these sport horses, and I'm sure you're like me, you're always amazed. Horses teach you every day how resilient and how tough they are and how they want to go do that job.
Totally agree.
It's impressive as all get out to me.
It's the repro, and there's another one agreement we have together. I mean, as a president and vice president, there are some connections.
So, as we have evolved in the last 20 years with ISELP, and you've seen it almost from the beginning, and so tell me what you've seen, what has ISELP, and you make a great case, and we'd be and I think one of the things I'd back up and reiterate is that what you said about the clinical exam. Yeah. And that is really the basis of ISELP. everyone wants to think about ISELP, well, they're the ones who teach ultrasound, and they do it anatomically based. That's true, but the most relevant thing I think I can teach young veterinarians is the clinical exam, because everything is going to emanate from there. You have to, if you're going to image or block, you have to figure out where you're going to do that. That's still coming from the clinical exam. I remember Jean-Marie said to me, and I'm sure he said it to you, the most common reason to ultrasound a horse, say one of our standard exams, is soft tissue deformation. Okay, well, you have to see and feel that soft tissue deformation. You have to have your hands on that horse.
Sure. And I think when you think about the past, let's call it the past, I think those first modules were so intense, and I still see these people coming for the first time. I know what they feel. I mean, it's just blowing your mind. Like, what are these people talking about? And I think that's 100% Jean-Marie's philosophy. It all starts with anatomy, and you need anatomy to understand functional anatomy. And when you know functional anatomy, you can do a proper clinical exam. And after a clinical exam, you need to make a diagnosis based on where you think the lesion might be, if there is a lesion, the reason of the gait alteration. And I think in those first years, and I remember in Middleburg in Virginia, was in the town hall or something? Very small place.
It was in the community center.
Yeah, very small, and I think it was in 2006 or 7, I can't remember. But it's I remember like, oh, what is this professor telling us? And he filled the gaps. He showed images and he showed anatomy like, this is what I missed. And that's the first learning moment you have in ISELP. Thinking about your old cases, and then suddenly you got somebody trying to teach you or sharing his or her knowledge about something, and that's the learning moment. And I still, in every module, I start now with the philosophy of Professor Denoix, and it's true. It starts with anatomical knowledge, a good documentation, an accurate diagnosis, and sharing these things together. I mean, he was able to share his knowledge and his experience, and it made us better veterinarians, better clinicians. And let's even say, better clinicians. That's what I should say. And I think this learning moment, I still see it in the eyes of the people who are attending the ISELP modules for the first time, and that's so nice. But a lot changed because Bob in those days had those big video cameras, and we need to stop the presentation because he needed to switch the tapes, or what was it? I mean, a lot changed. I mean, a lot changed in quality of technique what we are presenting, but still the basics are sharing knowledge and experience, document, and start with an accurate diagnosis. Not just injecting a joint, know where the problem is coming from. And that's what I still like about thinking about these old days. It never changed. And you know that, Kent, the exams we take now, I mean, these certification exams, they're still the same as 20 years ago. Exactly the same. It's interesting. So it's still the same level, I mean, but it's a certain level, and it's not nice, it's not easy, but it's good.
No, and it's so amazing the way it's gone over the years. I mean, I talked to a young veterinarian yesterday, and I was talking to her about she had passed her certification exam, and then another one sitting right beside her was one who was studying for it. And so we were all giving her tips and talking about it, and I said, oh, well, don't get rattled when you get asked to show an anatomic structure. Just sit, think about it for a second, and then go back to what you know and find it. And then I said, it's nothing you haven't done before. And she made the same comment I've heard dozens of times, which is, I've not even passed the exam, and preparing for it has changed the way I practice.
We are inspiring young colleagues. And there's nothing better than that.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I remember, if you think about instructors, I mean, in those days, the instructors were the board members, and the first three, I think, ISELP certified members.
Right.
So with the 7 or 8 of us,
Right.
we covered it the first 2 years. And over the years, that's also changed because you as a board member, not even being certified, I asked you to show me the chondrocompetal ligament. You were thinking like, the meniscofemoral ligament, and I was enjoying it, like, see what they can show me. But nowadays, I think we have so many pure specialists. I mean, high-level certified members, and those members are helping us teaching during the wet labs. So talking about those days and these days, in the present days, we have a high quality of instructors, and we should be proud about it because we need them. We need high quality people to train people and to inspire them.
Well, and I think one of the, just practical things that goes on almost every week in our practice is that we'll have a client who's wanting to vet a horse in the Netherlands or in Belgium or in France, and it used to be this kind of crapshoot as to who you got, and oh God, I hope they do a decent job. And now you can go and say, okay, well, there's ISELP certified members in that area. Why don't you try to go to their practice? Because even if you can't get them, you know that standard of equine practice is probably happening in that practice.
100% agree, and that's another reason to get certified. Please, those people who are listening, if you did those 8 modules, try to become certified. Why? You're going through all the modules again, so there is a learning moment again. I mean, I still learn from every module. If I prepare a module, I always keep learning, and it's so interesting, and I think that's so nice about the puzzle. But indeed, also your network is increasing again. But we have many clients or many horses cases we send to each other, or even discuss in the middle of the night about what are your thoughts. That's also ISELP. It's a connection. It's a community. Is that correct?
Community.
It's a community. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
So,
and the audience doesn't see it, but Bob is smiling at the other side.
So now. So you're a busy guy. You're doing Olympics.
That's only every 4 years.
yeah, World Equestrian Games. You're doing a lot of stuff. You're speaking at ISELP events. You're traveling. You're doing other things. So how do you balance the stress of all that work and effort and still enjoy yourself at home?
I knew you could come up with a work-life balance question, and I've been thinking about it. First of all, we don't have a practice that with emergencies.
And
that's
that
amazing,
makes a huge
and that's
difference.
unique. If I show our practice to other practitioners coming along, I mean, it's different. Our whole setup, our emergency is a pre-purchase exam. Don't we have any stress in daytime? Of course, because it's caseload. But there is no emergency, and there are weekends free. And the weekends, we don't have any consultations. So that's number one. That's what I explain my wife, Davy, also. That's work-life balance. I call it a dynamic equilibrium living. And it's a new term. It's
okay,
a kind of
explain that for me.
It's a kind of an ecosystem. And actually, the balance is constantly shifting. A lot of work, less work, a lot of work, too much work. But at the end, it always returns to the center. And I think that's what it should be. I mean, I like my work, and in my in my free time and my lifetime, I enjoy being home with Davy and my daughter Yip, and I even do some trail riding every Sunday. So that's 100% Sunday is trail riding on a horse. That's what I really like. And we have horses at home, we have dogs at home, and I do a lot of workouts. And I think my work-life balance is work-life balance, but that's who I am. Even in my spare time, I like to study some stuff and to look at literature. That's my moment. And I can enjoy those moments. And at the end, I think, as long as you can think about this dynamic equilibrium living, Kent, it's the next step. That's the next
I like
step.
that term. I like that. And the one I was impressed with, Erik, is we had a module early this year in Hawaii. And that was one of the first ones we've done as a kind of a resort destination
event.
Yeah. And Erik and Davy is just before we were getting started on the thing, and I knew he'd been around the island, been there for a few days, and I said, well, you really ought to go see this. And he goes, oh, I've seen that. Well, you ought to go see this then. Oh, We've
In
seen
1
that
week, we
already.
have seen 7 climate zones. It's amazing.
I was
Amazing.
so climate zones. Climate
Amazing,
zones,
amazing.
yes. And but you took full advantage of that. So there's
we enjoyed
your what's your term again? Your
Dynamic equilibrium living.
there you go. You took that to the max in Hawaii.
It was, but Hawaii was great.
Hawaii was
There was a
great.
great destination event, and I think, Bob, I'm looking at you. Please organize another one soon, because the next one will be in Europe, I hope. It's a little bit closer. Hawaii was quite far away.
It was. And we're going to work at doing a destination event in Europe in
100%.
27.
Perfect.
So and
I know where we go.
And of course, ISELP, not you or I, but ISELP is going to Australia this February.
Professor Denoix,
And Professor Denoix is going down there.
That's exciting, and that's actually I like that, because I think thanks to the new world of the digital experiences, let's call it like that. I mean, it's so nice that we can cover even the Middle East and Asia and Australasia. But for them, it's also nice to have these in-person meetings. I know some people in Australia, and Kirsten, one of our certified members, she's really into it, and it's nice. It's nice for them, and I think it will give new perspectives.
But I'm glad you touched on that. That's the one thing I forgot to mention on ISELP. I think that what changed ISELP was COVID.
Yeah, 100%.
And COVID changed a lot of things. But one of the things that positively
Maybe just
did,
to pause you. During COVID, in March, I was at your place together with Jean-Marie.
That's right.
We taped some stuff for some video stuff. I mean, we did some dissections. And I remember at your kitchen table in the morning, COVID, that's nothing. It's like influenza. Dr. Ellen and Dr. Denoix. I traveled home just in time.
Just to get back.
It was the last week of March.
Yeah.
2020, I think.
2020, but it had to be a little earlier because I can't remember when the shutdowns happened. But
and then and now we're talking about COVID changed ISELP. COVID changed ISELP.
Right.
Oh my God.
No, but we got ISELP.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get really, really good at doing live streams, and that has become something that people now can watch all over the world.
And people like it, Kent. I think people can re-watch it. And thanks to Bob and Liz, I mean, they do a great job about that. And what I said, I mean, in the Middle East, I know many people in the Middle East, and they're always watching. They like it. It's from them the best way to get in this community. But it's not easy. And I still think, in my heart, in person is important for your trust network, collaboration, and community.
You meet people you'll never forget.
100%. But those people who are not able to come over, please do not hesitate, contact us. They can always contact me or you, contact us. I mean, it's not like it's the video and that's it. I mean, we're living in a real world. Just contact us. You can contact us by mail, by post, by phone, it doesn't matter. But just take the phone or take your email and contact us. I mean, let's get the community closer together.
Yeah, and that's, like you say, ISELP is a community.
And also in the modules, I think, in COVID, what also changed is these demos. You know, I mean, we had a little bit of an issue like, should we take these horses in?
Right.
And now I think in these modern modules, where we put the demo, I mean, we even invested in some fancy stuff to make a good demo, you know, with the ultrasound image together with the live demo of the horse. That's all nicely synchronized. I like it. I think people like it. I think because this is the ultimate quality we can give instead of hanging underneath the horse and showing it. I think we improved also in quality over there.
Now, and you participated in a wet lab, ISELP did the day before AEP started. And now that one we used a slightly different, because we always work at having nice small groups with the instructor, highly competent instructors, which luckily we have no shortage of in ISELP.
Absolutely not.
And more probe time for the people. Yeah. And so what we did this time was trying something new, and we, Dr. Selberg went ahead and did an hour-long video for the people to watch beforehand, and I was impressed at how many of them
watched the video.
Almost all of them. I think there were 2 people that hadn't watched the video.
And it's a good thing. When you're prepared, you get more out of it.
Exactly.
And we always show this anatomical dissection video, and I'm sure 80% will watch it up front, but you need to watch it. I mean, be prepared. The more you prepare, the more you get out of a module.
Yeah.
And it was a great wet lab for the AEP, and I'm sure we do it again next year.
Yeah.
I mean, people really liked it, and they have more probe time. And on the other hand, probe time is always, people always want more probe time. But I think our wet labs are just there to show you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. And because practice takes hours and hours and hours to get experience. So it's a matter of time. And that's what we cannot offer in a wet lab. In a wet lab, we can just show you that you can do it. We want to show you can do it. That's the goal.
You've got to go home and do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Well, Erik, thank you for coming on and
Thank you.
letting me interview you
I liked
at
it.
ISELP In-Motion.
We have more in common than I thought. Thank you, Kent.
Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to you on our next episode of ISELP In-Motion.